Let's go. And good morning, good afternoon, and
Dave
good
Mastiff.
evening, and welcome to another episode. Why are you interrupted with Dave Mastiff's an excellent, by the way.
No, that's the guy who we faced that week. Yeah.
All right. Welcome to another episode of the Robbos Gobcast Wrestling Podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. We are back. We're not doing no fantasy this week. We're just going to be catching up on a few things that we missed over the time that we were doing it, or certain things that caught our eye over the past week as well. We really enjoyed, I think we both can say, we really enjoyed doing that fantasy booking, and it looks like you guys did as well. It was one of our most watched wrestling podcasts, and it was one of the most listened to wrestling podcasts that we've done as well. So thank you guys ever so much for watching and listening on that. We're going to do more. I think we're going to have to.
We can't not, mate. We can't not.
We've got SummerSlam that we've got coming up. We've got Survivor Series. So we might do once a month after a couple of weeks after a pay-per-view. We might do, and we will bring NXT in as well. We will fantasy book NXT as well. We're not just going to do WWE, Raw or SmackDown. We will do NXT as well. But we might do that once a month just to change it up a bit instead of doing the same thing every week. So this week we're going to be discussing Raw, what are high points, if there is any, and the low points of Raw. We will be discussing NXT, which I thoroughly, really enjoyed this week. SmackDown as well. We will be discussing that. We're talking about obviously the Daniel Bryan Roman Reigns match. We got some big pieces, and there was some other news as well with Chasey Green, the ref, Andrade calling out a few people in the AAA wrestling promo, and he's back into the ring since WWE moving forward. And if there is other topics as well, we will start discussing it from there on. So yes, but before we get into any of that, don't forget down below in the description is a link to our social media accounts. We are posting a lot more on our TikTok account, and we're also doing polls on there as well. If we've got a poll or something that we want to discuss or do, then we will be doing that on there as well. So go and check that out. Go give us a follow on there. The link for it is down in the description down below. And go and check us out on Twitter, where we are very active on there, and go and check us out on Instagram and Facebook, where we do most of our stuff as well on there as well. Don't forget, if you're listening to this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell to get instant notification for when we go live. And if you're listening to this on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, or Spotify, don't forget to give us a follow, and you will get a notification for when of our videos go live. Anything else? Don't forget, last week we did some good videos. Great content for you guys. Go check out our Formula One, where we tried to predict yesterday. Not yesterday, Sunday's race. I got to remember when we upload this. I'm uploading this tomorrow. Where we discuss that. Go check out what you thought. We thought Connor got in trouble for turning up late on the podcast, so you can see his punishment. We did a predictions for the rest of the season as well in the Reading FC podcast, as our season is now over, and we're basically on the beach ready for next season. We have done a prediction for the final games of the season going forward. So go check that out. Go give us a little thumbs up, and if you're watching this, please give it a thumbs up. Please share, and please tell your friends about it, so we can get more and more people to listen or watch our podcast. But let's get into it, shall we? Hello. How are you, Mr. Ali?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Prince Ali.
You have to do that on the air, don't you?
I think I have to do that every episode. It's becoming, I think it's, when people get intros.
I don't, as far as I actually don't mind anyway. I've always kind of had that theme song in my head for some reason. I don't know why.
Because you are Aladdin.
That's not the first time I've been told, actually. I'm not even making that up. I'll take it. I know.
You are a very beautiful man. That's why.
Okay. Relax. Right. Don't need to get too excited.
Definitely not around you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right, let's get into it, shall we? Should we get into Monday Night Raw?
If need be.
Right, we're going to do this really quick because I can't be bothered with Raw.
The thing is, I said this before we started. It actually, in my opinion, it wasn't as bad as it was the Raw after Mania. compared to that, it was still somewhat watchable, but it was just, still basically shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to go for one highlight, which is my highlight, which is something that I think is the best thing on Raw at this precise moment. And that's RKO
I thought you were gonna say it was Nia Jax, slipping on the floor.
No, I'm not going with that. There's a joke I could go with this, but I'm not doing it.
What, my hole again?
Look at me, mature, not rising to people's lows.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I ain't gonna last long. Yeah, and RKO Bro,
Yeah.
in my opinion, is the best thing. We all know the eventuality is going to turn Randy Orton heel, but can we just appreciate how good these two are together?
I think, I've seen people who are hating on it, obviously, because they hate Riddle and everything, which I understand as well. But I think that people really should be looking at it with, in general, as I put it this way: everyone's always criticizing, NXT call-ups getting called up to the main roster and always flopping. And I'm looking at Riddle. I'm looking at Priest, my guy. I'm looking at Rhea Ripley, and they're all getting a pretty good start for a change, and they usually around this time is when two things can either happen whenever NXT calls up comes in. They'll either flop on the beginning or they'll flop after they had a good start. And so far they've surpassed that stage quite well. So I think that things aren't. It just goes to show that everyone seems to flop when they come up from the main roster. Just people seem to pick on the ones that do flop, And I say this all the time. A lot of times people who come to the main roster do well. The people who don't want to admit it are just like, oh, well, they weren't that great to begin with, and it's just they seem to lose interest in them afterwards. And I'm just like, that just shows you how much of a fan you were with them to begin with. You know what I'm trying to say?
It's interesting with this one because I feel like this is either WWE's, well, it is WWE's because Randy Orton is WWE. He is the main man in WWE. There's no point about that. But this is WWE's stamp of approval.
I'm not gonna lie. There was a time I actually thought Randy was about to just give them the ultimate. I'm gonna go somewhere else for a bit because
he most probably was
that guy. He's that guy who can really, you can never tell how serious he is or not. And a part of me was actually hoping he'd go to New Japan, just because I want to see him wrestle. Guys like Okada, down there. And at one point, I don't know if this is when Kenny was still there, but if it was, I would love to see him have a match with him at that time.
So for me, this is WWE's stamp of approval on Riddle. This is, if you can get this done and if you can get people behind this, then and I bookmarked this and I bookmarked a tweet that I sent. I don't know whether I bookmarked it now because I think I deleted that account now. But on one of the accounts I sent, I think it was on the rest of Twitter before I deleted it. On it was by the end of this year or by next WrestleMania. I think it's either by next WrestleMania or soon. Riddle will be WWE champion.
That's a bit too far ahead. I don't think they'll push him back quickly. I mean,
I tell you what, if you're teaming up with Randy Orton, that is a massive push on its own.
I mean, people thought that with the Revival when they were there.
Yeah, but there's a difference in style and there's a difference in person.
I'm not doubting Matt can get that level, but I just don't see them getting too high. High. I don't see that. I'm trying to say. I know Vince likes him, and I know that the interest is there. And Matt is himself, I've said it numerous times. I remember when he came, when I heard of him years ago, I was like, this is the kind of guy I'd love to see on WWE someday. Obviously, this is before, everything else happened. I've always said that Matt, ticks the boxes for what a star is. So it would be interesting to see him reach that level. I don't think, pushing him in a year's time is the right time. I still think he needs to be at a mid-card level. And, he needs to be able to show that he can carry that at least before they give him the big push to see if he can hold a main event state.
If anyone can go through a stage where you flick your flip-flops off and there's fucking birds flying and you can still pull that off and carry on, just not
Yes,
caring about it.
I don't know how I feel about that, to be
Just
honest.
go. I think Riddle. Look, with Matt Riddle at this precise moment, let's look at this right now. Riddle did this type of thing in NXT with Pete Dunne. You've got the violent other person like Randy Orton with Pete Dunne, and you've got, and I'll tell you what, the chemistry between Pete Dunne and Riddle was amazing when it was on NXT until COVID happened. But
I liked it too, but I just wanted to see Pete just turn heel because I could see that was what it was brewing down to. But I'm glad that instead it just went down to. A part of me is kind of glad that it went the other way and then ended up going Thatcher, etc. But to answer your question, what you're trying to say, I do want to see how Randy. Actually, no, sorry. I want to see Randy and Matt hold the tag team gold for a bit before the inevitable happens. And I wouldn't be surprised if we had a swerve come in, and it turns out that Matt instead is the one that turns heel on Randy. That would be quite interesting because it'll be like we didn't see that coming, unless you open-minded. And it'll be interesting to see how Matt can transcend in that kind of role, because I think Matt could be a bit more would suit more in your face rather than I'm a jackass, if that makes sense.
I think Matt can do both roles, and I think he could do it both roles equally good. And I think if you look at what he's been doing since he turned up to Raw, I think it just goes to show. NXT, he was good, but on Raw, I feel like he's better. And I feel like that what he's doing on there, and you can see that we're enjoying this because we're really not going to talk about much else that happened on Raw, by the way, because this is the only good thing that's happening at the moment.
I'm glad to see that they are giving, in other news, I'm glad to see they are giving, Humberto Carrillo, some TV time again. So I'm hoping that it goes somewhere, but I'm not going to get my hopes up there. I do feel that it's most likely going to lead to, because it was originally planned for him anyway, Keith Lee at some point to come in and take the title off Sheamus.
Mm-hmm.
When that's going to happen, I don't know, because there's a mixture of, rumors of what's happening right now.
I think the best way to do this would be SummerSlam. Because I think there's talk that fans.
I don't know if I can
by then.
I know what you mean, but things I don't know if I can wait that long for Keith. I mean, they could always bring Keith back at the.
Well, Keith Lee's not going to come straight back and go in a title. I think he's going to have to come back and really, really show why. And I think that there is plan on him to have that United States title, but
that was supposed to be the plan.
He still needs to prove himself on WWE. He did well on NXT, but he still needs that to prove himself in big matches on Raw.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. From what I heard, from what I understand, they were supposed to. The plan was originally, after the feud with Drew, was to get him a bit of a rub on, a bit of buzz on him, so that way the interest was there. And obviously the plan was to. It's kind of like it's one of those things where they almost kind of cocked up his booking by putting him against Sheamus, and then with Sheamus and against Sheamus. It looked like he was going to go for the United States Championship.
Can I tell you one thing that ruined Keith Lee before his injury in COVID? One thing. Goldberg.
How did he ruin it?
Because if you remember I think one of the best matches he's had between him and Drew McIntyre, and I will have to say that was one of the best matches I've seen Keith Lee do. In WWE, before anyone goes Indies, he did Indies. I don't watch Indies that much. If I watch Progress and ICW most of the time, that's about the most you'll get Indies out of me. And the thing that ruined it for me was how of an excellent match that was. To then just go straight to him, and it's like, right? Can we not just appreciate? We're not appreciating Keith Lee here for how close he was to Lee defeated Drew. We've now got a 40, 50-year-old man that goes, yeah, nice, coming down to the ring just to sort of ruin the spotlight. And that was the thing that really ruined that moment and ruined.
To be fair, I'll be fair, that did ruin it. But the thing is, at the same time, it's down to who said him straight out there after that. They could have given Keith Lee his moment and then sent old Bill.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But that moment ruined it. Right, we need to move on.
What I was trying to get at was that the original plan was to get the US title on Keith Lee, but it was a bit of a tough spot. Excuse me. It was a bit of a tough spot because Bobby Lashley was still picking up his steam as well with the US title. So it was literally like, we got this guy, we got this guy. It's just like, how do we take it off him without killing his momentum? You know what I mean?
Wasn't that
So
the triple threat match with Bobby, Riddle, and Keith?
it was supposed to be, yeah. So it was supposed to be Bobby Riddle and Bobby Riddle and Keith, but then Keith got COVID, so then they had to go with John Morrison to take the key off, to take the pin. That's what happened.
I was trying to work out who was the other
so
one.
That makes me wonder who should have really taken the pin if it had that not been the case. Because could Riddle really take that, take the loss? It's just that kind of thing. But then they'd be like, we could feud them for a bit. It's one of those situations which I think could have got. In short terms, I think that, to simply put it, I think that the COVID situation kind of saved Keith in that one. To a
saved
extent.
it and hindered him. Right, let's move on. This is how much I care about this match. Ready? Braun Strowman's been added to the triple threat match for Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley. On to NXT.
You're not gonna praise your alter ego.
Do you know what? I can't even be bothered. It's fucking terrible. I'm sorry.
Come on, man. You can't say that. You can't. He's your brother. He's your distant brother. Don't forget.
I am not praising the choo-choo train, Thomas the Tank Engine, Braun Strowman. Right. Also, I've got.
Think of it like this. No. Think of it like this. He's only 9 years older than you.
Fucking hell! Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting old now. When people start, look, when I watch footballers now, and they're like, "Here comes 16-year-old," I go, "Oh, fucking hell, I'm old."
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Anyway, a question for you. What do they need to... The one question before we move on, because it's fucking terrible.
1 second. This heater next to me can't hear it, can you?
No.
Okay, no, that's fine.
No, I'm joking. Raw. Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet the other day that got a lot of response.
What was it?
It was, is Braun Strowman the most boring wrestler?
Oh, come on.
At the moment. And I tell you what, it got a lot more likes than I was expecting on that.
Thing is, I don't think Braun is as bad as we're making him out to be. He just works the way he's supposed to. It's not like he's going to go out there and do freaking backflips.
Right. So there's not going out there doing backflips, but if you look at some of the big men that have come through that are not entertaining, but that there's something about them. Braun Strowman just looks like someone who's like, all right.
I think Braun, to me, Braun is that guy who you just need. How do I put it? To me, he's the guy you just need a book right and keep it consistently like that and have him just wrecking shit because that's what he works best with. And that's basically what Braun is. He's a wrecking machine. He needs to go around, tearing. I don't want to say like this, but he's basically like King Kong. He has to go around on a rampage, wrecking.
See, I don't think he does. I don't think he needs to do that.
You don't think? Okay.
No, I think he needs to not wreck things, but wreck people. He needs to beat them with a finishing maneuver that just isn't someone that you're carrying and putting down for a little sleep, right?
I'll be fair. I don't think he's ever suited doing the power slam.
Look, he's someone who I think personally needs to destroy people within seconds, within minutes, and I mean high-profile people. Look at what Bobby Lashley did to Riddle, right?
Yeah.
That one match after Mania, that should have been Strowman. Not Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley doesn't need to do that. But we all know how good he is and how he never lost the US title and he's cashed in Money in the Bank, blah, 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 blah. All this and all of that. We all know. Oh, no, he did cash in. He's cashed in. Sorry. On it. Look, Braun Strowman, for me, is someone that needs to... The rivalry with Roman Reigns, I think, was the making of Braun. And I think that should have been when he got World Champion the first time.
He was hot as hell. He was hot as hell after that one.
He needs to destroy people, not things, people. Literally, like you're going in one-on-one with Drew McIntyre, right? And to really put Braun Strowman over, he walks in. It doesn't have to pin him. Can be a DQ. I'm not saying that this has to be done cleanly. He walks in and just has Drew McIntyre on toast for about 2 minutes. Like Drew McIntyre can't do anything. Literally, he will try and do the Claymore, and it will hit Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman will just stand there and go, All right. That's what they need to do
Okay.
with him. They need to make him like with the Fiend. When he gets hit, he goes down, but he kicks out at one. But
Yeah.
you need to make him as he doesn't even go down. Like there's the only way he goes down or onto it or onto the mat is if he wants to do a move, to do anything he wants, and then build that up to WrestleMania to he's never lost. He's destroyed every single person that's come in his way. There's no one there to do it. Who can destroy him? Who can beat him? Then
The
bring
thing
Drew
is,
McIntyre in.
the thing is, they always seem to keep a guy undefeated for a bit, but then they choose like when he's like red hot, they just seem to kill off at the wrong time. They did that with Drew. You know,
They've
I
done
remember
that
they
with
kept
a
him
few people.
Yeah, I remember they kept Drew undefeated for about a year, and you know, I thought that they were going to keep him until Mania at least. You know, because I thought that was that would have been the perfect chance to keep him keep it going. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason they had him lose to Dolph, and I'm like, I was like, why would you do that? You know, nothing against Dolph, but surely that would have been.
I also think sometimes WWE do this type of thing to test them as a character, not by test the person more than the character. Like, if you're going to lose to Dolph, how are you going to do it? Are you going to do it cleanly, or are you going to do something that makes you look better than someone else? I also think Vince does this sometimes to test people. Just that loss to Dolph Ziggler created him and beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania and getting that Royal Rumble win. You look at something. I always think that Vince does something for a reason. That we all go, it's a stupid idea. What the fuck was that? Why is he doing that? And I think he goes, okay, yeah, that's right.
No, but to be fair, the thing is, like, if I remember that year correctly, because this is 2019 we're talking about. Yeah, around this time, I still remember he lost to Dolph, and then after that, he was, with Shane McMahon for a bit. No, sorry. Then he was feuding with Roman for a bit. Then he went to Shane McMahon. And then they were supposed to have Roman and Undertaker versus Shane and Drew. And then there was a talk about possibly having Drew versus Undertaker at the Mania next year. And then it was a very strange year, 2019. I'm not gonna lie.
Because I think it was one of those where they were putting Drew in situations to see how he would do. And I think it was more on that than it was anything else.
But I feel like at the same time it was a bit more risque then because people could have easily just lost that interest. But at the same time, that said, I'm glad to say that we're past all that crap, and that 2020 was a clean slate for Drew, and he picked himself up.
I think that year made him. I think that year made Vince go, right, okay, yeah, he's my Royal Rumble.
It was Paul Heyman. Paul
Heyman just started it, but Vince McMahon brought into it. And if you could get Vince McMahon to buy into you, then you're set. Right, let's move on. NXT. We had Dakota Kai versus Mercedes Martinez. And at the end of that match, Raquel Gonzalez went completely apeshit and destroyed Mercedes Martinez to go heel again. She's gone from heel to babyface to heel.
Who are we talking about? Mercedes or
no, Raquel? Raquel, after what she did to Mercedes, has now basically made herself heel. Because let's be honest, Mercedes Martinez nearly won that. It was so close to winning that.
What I'm saying is, the thing is, I don't know if I ever thought of Raquel as a heel or a face. I think she's kind of like that person, like a tweener. Basically, she'll do it her way, whether you like it or not, if that makes sense. So, I don't know if I'd classify it as a heel moment. I think it was just really Raquel doing what Raquel should be doing, which is wrecking shit up and not playing for the fans and doing it her way, which is what I want to see.
I agree on that. But Mercedes Martinez, the person you're going to go heel against, is someone who I think is probably one of the biggest heels in women's wrestling, who can generate any type of heat wherever she goes. You're going to turn it. You're going to try and destroy her when she is a legitimate woman that could destroy anyone. That was the only out of NXT. I would say that was one of the questionable things that I saw, and I was like, "Look, all right, okay." That was basically my reaction.
Okay, I think that I think the way they're using Mercedes right now, I feel like it's just their way of trying to keep her. They're keeping her relevant at this point, and
I like Mercedes Martinez.
I like her too. I just didn't like the way she was as when they brought her in as a babyface. I thought I could never buy her as a
Never
babyface.
gonna happen. It's like you know when you get these certain people that are just born to be heels. It's like Shayna Baszler, heel.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that with Mercedes, she has that rougher. Can't say it. Rougher. She's rough around the edges. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She has that rough around the edges kind of look with her tattoos and her facial expressions and everything. I just can't see that as somebody you'd cheer for, as somebody you really want to be.
Exactly. That's why I don't get. That's why I don't get that bit. That's the bit I don't get. It's like, look, I like Mercedes Martinez. I really like her. I think she's excellent at what she does, and I think she's amazing at where she goes. But, anyway.
What do you mean? All right, are you talking about? All right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? All right, another thing that I found quite weird: Tony Storm becoming a jobber.
Tony Storm becoming a jobber. Who did she job to again? Oh yeah, that
shooting star press.
I like that shooting star press.
By the way, fucking great finisher.
Let me just say, I'm not usually I'm not that blown away by those sort of moves because for me it's like I've seen it before. Like the frog splash, I see so many people do it all the time. I'm not getting impressed by it.
Everyone does the frog splash.
The only guy that impresses me with the frog splash is Montez Ford.
Yeah.
He's the only guy who's made it look interesting and makes it impressive and actually tries to make it stand out. Sasha doesn't impress me. Leo Rush, I like you, but he never made it impressive. KO, I like KO, but he can pull it off, but it's still nothing special there. Montez Ford, he actually, I don't know what it is. He just gets that height in.
He is, by the way, and I'm calling this now on this podcast, so clip it. In the next 3 years, maybe 4, he will be WWE champion.
Bro, if it was me, I'd be booking him as a single star right now. I'd be
they need some tag teams on SmackDown. It's rather poor at the moment.
I'd be slowly giving him a push to eventually give him, put him in the ring with Roman. If it was up to me, I'd be giving him that, picking up on it right now while he's still young and fresh. But before then, I still think he's got a good couple of years with Angelo Dawkins as a tag team before they can go back over with him.
Anyway, let's get back.
What I was trying to say was that, Tony Storm and the new girl, whose name escapes me right now, but I'm sure we'll see more from in the future. I think they had a great match, and I'm glad to say that it's great to see somebody making a high flying move actually look impressive for a change, and unlike some. So I'm excited by that, and I'm also excited to see where Tony Storm and I'll say her name escapes. Lacey Ryan. Lacey Ryan.
No, I'm trying to work out who was the person she just. So the one she went to Zaina Raymer.
Zoe Stark. Sorry, yeah, Lacey Ryan was her name, but yeah, Zoe Stark. Yeah.
Zoe Stark's the one that come out and interfered.
Yeah, no,
they seem to be pushing quite a lot. Zayda,
yeah.
Excellent shooting star press, brilliant shooting star press. It's just you can't beat my Tony Storm. I love Tony Storm. I've seen her live.
I feel like it's probably. I think it's probably because they're going to move her. They're moving up to the main roster soon as well. I don't think they're going to be doing it. They'd be doing it unless they don't have any. Unless they try to. There's a long term plan behind it. So
just my Tony.
Let's go on SmackDown. So
Oh, Raw. Raw needs good actual wrestling women.
Oh man, SmackDown.
No,
SmackDown's the home of the heels. Remember that.
It is, but we need someone on Raw that can actually change it somehow.
The thing is that if she goes to Raw, it'll just be her playing second to Rhea again, which I don't want to see.
Yeah, but she'll defone her because it's Tony Storm. Let's carry on with the theme so far with women. You got the NXT Women's Tag Titles coming up this week on NXT. It's going to be The Way versus Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships.
Can I just say I love Robert Stone and Aaliyah and Jesse when they thought they won a tag team goal.
Yeah,
I think those guys don't get enough credit where credit's due. Especially
excellent.
I still remember when he was Robbie E in TNA. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that guy made me laugh so much. Him and Big Rob Terry, man. Oh my days.
Jesus,
you don't remember him, do you?
Yeah.
You don't remember him, do you?
I remember Rob Terry. He's the Welsh bloke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Big Rob Terry.
I love those two, man. I'm so sad. I actually wanted to get those sweaters they used to wear. I was like, I want to get them. And I look back now, I'm like, yeah, thank God I didn't.
Yeah, thank God you didn't. Right.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Candice LeRae, the way. I think that this is excellent storytelling so far, by the way. And I think the way in total, from Austin Theory to Johnny Gargano to Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, all four of them are so fucking good together that I'm loving every second of this. And I'll tell you and then Gavin and Stacey, what they say is, I'll tell you for the reason why.
I don't watch it, so I want to know.
Oh, you dickhead. Sort yourself out and watch it.
I watch EastEnders, mate.
Oh, that's why you're a loony bin.
Go on, mate. Get out of my pub.
Fucking hell, how old are you? How long ago have you watched it? She's not even alive anymore.
Oh, you can't forget Peggy Mitchell, mate.
No, I fucking love Peggy Mitchell. Absolute legend. Anyway, so I put on our Google Doc how much I love Johnny Gargano at the moment. I love every single second. Anytime he's on my screen, I absolutely love it. From way that he builds up Austin Theory. Austin Theory is one of the funniest people at the moment. His comedy timing is excellent. Candice LeRae, what she's doing with Indy Hartwell is excellent in trying to think that Dexter is trying to go after Chauncey and Ember. By the way, one of the funniest lines I heard was not one of the funniest lines I've ever heard, but one of the lines I found very entertaining was when Chauncey and Ember were getting interviewed and they brought the flowers and chocolates and Chauncey went, "No, these must be for you." And Ember went, "No, I'm married. That's not me." I went, love it. They did the same thing at ringside.
And then they tried putting it to Shotzi. She's like that.
Yeah,
Shotzi's, Shotzi's lesbian. So
yeah, so it's one of those things where I was like, clever that she's using Indy Hartwell now because she can see that the emotion is growing with Indy. That if you do something with Dexter, then you're going to get the best out of her. And look, I think what Dexter Lumis is doing with Indy Hartwell is I love to have them as a pairing. I'm not going to lie. I love it. That would be the best thing that could happen. But I'm going to call it now. If it's clean and they use the Dexter Lumis thing, we will have new tag team champions. If Dexter Lumis gets involved and says that he didn't do anything with the chocolates, it wasn't him, it was Candice LeRae, blah, 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 Ember Moon and Chauncey Blackheart are winning. And it's going to be, there's not going to end clean. But I'm saying now, it's either going to go one of two ways, and those are the two ways it's going to happen. And Indy Hartwell has been, and I agree with what you said before. I wanted to see more of Indy Hartwell for myself to make a judgment on her. And I feel like she's living up to the expectation that I think Candice LeRae has put on her. And I also feel like the way that she's doing the storytelling with Dexter Lumis is epic. And I love it. And I'm all for it at this point. And by the way, Bronson Reed, fucking animal. And I can see him winning that soon as well.
I like him. I'm just hoping that they don't, it doesn't. I mean, this is NXT we're talking about as well, but anything can happen. I'm just hoping that it doesn't come to a point where it looks like they're going to do something with him, and then it doesn't happen in the end, and he's just floundering around again for a bit. But that said, let me also, if we change on to the other thing, I want to also talk about Pete Dunne and his promo he cut.
Oh yeah, that's definitely.
When he cut that promo, man, I don't know if you saw my tweet. I said that's the Pete Dunne I've been waiting to see for a long time now. The Pete Dunne that will fight anyone, not the laughing guy, not the bad, the guy who just stands and do this all the time. Somebody who will actually, step up to anybody. Doesn't give a shit who it is. He'll go back to NXT UK if he wants to. He'll fight the NXT North American champion. He'll fight the NXT champion. He'll even go wherever he wants. That's the Pete Dunne I want to see. Not, just real. That's who we wanted. And that's why I've been.
By the way, if you lot are watching this or seen this, that's why he is on the thumbnail for this video. By the way, with Roman Reigns.
Was it?
He is.
Was that who?
Pete Dunne.
What happened?
He's on the thumbnail for this video.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
I put him on because I knew that you wanted to discuss this, and at the same time, when I heard him, when I heard him talk, I went, Look, I love Pete Dunne. Whatever he's done so far, I've really enjoyed, and I really like what he does. But that Pete Dunne last night is someone that is pissed off. That is not a Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
It seemed to have gone. They seem to went right. Here's a camera. Off you go, and he just went. And that is not a scripted or whatever promo. That's a Pete Dunne promo.
I mean,
that's done well.
They probably bullet point a few things. Let's be honest, but he's obviously got that confidence now, and he's obviously developing himself. And I can see that he's much more. You forget he's still basically our age at this point. So he's
27.
He's 27, yeah, and he's still very hungry and everything. But he's I don't want to steal their line, but he's basically a grizzled young veteran at this point in his career, and he's still got a lot to give as well, which is even more scary. So he's basically at that point where he's not even in his prime yet. He's not even coming to his prime yet, but he's still, what I'm saying, he's still at that point as well.
Do you know what the scary thing is? What you just said. He's not at his prime yet, and he's still currently he's one of the best wrestlers in the world.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'd put him on the.
That's how scary it is.
Yeah, I'd put him on that list. I mean, if we're talking the guys I put him in the ring with years ago, I'd have put him in the ring with guys like Guerrero, guys like Ray, guys like.
I think that's one of his goals as well. He very much wants Daniel Bryan as well, because he's very much looked up to Daniel Bryan, and that's one of the things I want to see.
It's funny you say that, because after that match on SmackDown, he put that eyeball emoji. And everyone was like, he's after Bryan, I was like, you're right, he might be after Bryan, but what if he's more interested in the guy who just sent Bryan out?
No.
Because surely you want him to go for the guy who's the top guy.
No, because if you know Pete Dunne's career,
I know but he's modeled after Daniel Bryan.
But that is the reason why he will go after Daniel Bryan at this precise moment more than Roman Reigns, and that's why. And also, it'd be interesting because Pat McAfee, by the way, who is doing an amazing job on SmackDown. I want to talk about that when we get to it, but before we get into that, I think Pete Dunne is someone. Last thing. Well, two more things, but one quick thing. Diamond Mine.
To be fair, I didn't see this until I came on Twitter. Yeah, I was interested as well. I've seen a lot of people saying
Tessa Blanchard.
I've seen a lot of people say it's Tessa because of she had a diamond on her thingy. Whatever.
I think it's her.
Maybe it could be, but I don't know. I don't think it could be as well, because at the same time it looks like it's MMA based as well. So it could be. I think it's more likely. There's two. It could either be related to Tyler Rust, who's with Malcolm Bivens at this point.
The diamond in the rough.
Or it could even be a faction as well. So I'm thinking. I think it's more of the latter rather than Tessa at this point, because
I'm going to call it here. I'm not going to call it here, but what I think of it is I think it's going to be Tessa in a faction.
Well, that's possible as well.
Because I know that there was talk that she could be going to WWE. There's also talk that now apparently Tony Khan is piped up saying that he wants her in AEW to bolster that women's division of what they're doing at the moment, to redo what they're doing. And with credit's due, they're doing really well with that women's division in AEW at the moment. So, Diamond Mine. I ain't got a fucking clue. I'm interested to see where this goes and what they're doing.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see. Last thing before we get on to SmackDown quickly, because we've covered NXT quite a lot, and we want to give credit where it's due. We've got a lot more stuff to discuss. MS Kushida went 1-on-1 with Escobar and his goons for a 6-man tag to end the show. Where
that was a good one. Thanks for reminding me.
Look.
You reminded me. I wasn't going to say anything until you reminded me.
No.
That was on you, mate.
I get the match, right? I get that they destroy Kushida and then they take one person away from MSK in doing it. But
why I'm laughing so much.
It's not believable enough.
Oh, for Pete's sake.
It's not. You can't have the goons, as I call it. Escobar. Yeah, I get it. He is a legitimate badass, and he is a legitimate person that is going to be, and he's very confident in himself because there was a tweet out by Fox, I think it was, that says who will be WWE champion by 2026, and he tweeted me. 2025, 2026, one of them, around that time.
Yeah.
And he said, I will. And I went, I like his confidence, and I feel like he will get there. And he's, but you can't have the goons get absolutely annihilated by Cross a few weeks ago, or a month ago, or however long ago. Hold on. To Cross a few months ago, and then legitimately take out Kushida and MSK. It's like,
I get where you're coming from, but you have to understand Cross is like 5 times the size of almost everyone in NXT. So,
no, I get that. No, I get that. But you can't have them look like they're like they've now turned into a fucking a big ass tag team.
Maybe Cross just woken them up a little bit. Who knows? You know, you got to think outside the box as well.
They're thinking outside the box, and then they're just stretching for any little bit of limit in there.
We'll just have to agree to disagree on that because we'll keep going back and forth on this one.
Look, as I said, Escobar has changed my mind on him massively from the match that he had with John Devlin, one of the matches he had before then as well, and the match with Kushida, how he brought the best out of Kushida, but Kushida brought the best out of him as well. Let's not take things away from it.
I think, to me, I think
makes no sense.
I just want to see, them do his one and done, and then move him onto the NXT North American Championship, or even the NXT Championship, really. But
I don't think he'll stay in NXT.
Neither do I. But I remember the NXT title is in Cross's hands right now, so I don't really want to.
Yeah, he ain't gonna go against Cross anytime soon, and there's no point putting him there because we've seen that Cross has absolutely annihilated him.
It will be. This is what I wanted to mention. Who do you think will take the title of Cross right now? Because obviously,
no one.
It's a no-brainer. No one's going to take it from for a bit, but they have to find someone eventually to match him.
I think the only person who I think can legitimately maybe take the title from Cross is either one or two people, and currently one of them's not even on the brand. I'm going to go with one of them. I'm going to go is either Pete Dunne. Because
excuse me,
I feel like he's going to really be able. That will be when Pete Dunne gets it and Cross moves on, or Walter.
The thing is, it's just like, are they giving him too much as well? You know.
But at the same time, I still think Walter will be UK champion still in a year's time. So I can't see anyone defeating him, and I don't see him go for a title in that type of thing as well. I can't see anyone.
And the thing is, though,
Adam Cole. Let's talk about Adam Cole's promo. Fucking fire, absolutely fire.
That was a great promo. Adam. He's always been that promo guy. What I'm trying to say with Walter is that I can only see him going for the NXT Championship if he's going to try and work in the US more than he does in the Europe, which I don't see happening unless they've made a deal. And I'm still 50-50 that ever will happen. But at the same time, it's that unlikeliness keep coming in. It's like I'm doing that math thing that Scott Steiner done.
Yeah. Yeah, you got no chance of ever working out. And I will talk about Walter quickly before we move on to SmackDown.
But I want to what you're saying about Adam Cole. Yeah, Adam is definitely going to be on NXT for a little bit longer than expected. Yeah. But I can see him, hanging about there for a bit. Maybe testing the waters, moving on at some point. But I can see him feuding with Kyle for a bit.
And by the way, when he gets called up, he's going to SmackDown.
Oh yeah,
just because Pat McAfee's there. That will be the reason why he will be called up to SmackDown, was because how Pat could put Adam Cole over is brilliant, and I'll do that. Do
you think they'd trust him to let them have a match on SmackDown?
No.
I think it'd be interesting. I think it'd be interesting to establish him that way, but it'd have to be after some, because don't forget they didn't give us Pat versus Adam until like at least nearly, because they built that for like a year and a bit, because they were watching how they interact with each other on show and everything. So they have to really go that formula in order for it to work. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Before we move on, there was one last thing that I just remembered that I forgot to write down, but I want to talk about. Imperium it looks like that there is shit's happening with Imperium. Alexandra Wolf would not hit Killian Dane with a chair. And then at the end of it, after Imperium won, they all stood on the stage. Alexander Wolf moved forward like he was Walter, and to say that he was the leader of Imperium, to then when Marcel Bartel and Fabian Aichner just went. And I'll tell you what, one of the faces that really got me, that I knew something was going to happen, was Martel Bartel's face. Because when they all moved forward, he looked at Wolf and he was in disgust with the way that he did it. And I went, yeah, here we go. Something's going to happen here. Either Alexandra Wolf is going to turn over to, I don't know, the dark side when he goes to with Killian Dane and Drake Maverick, or
please no,
or Killian Dane is going to turn on Drake Maverick and bring the four-piece together again and bring.
If he does end up joining Imperial, does that mean he's going to shave his back finally?
Oh God, no. I'll tell you what. We went to NXT in Brighton. This was when Sanity first come into WWE, and they were really starting to come in about. We were at Brighton, and me and my partner went for the day, and we went to go and watch it. And when we were watching it, the chant that was the greatest chant I have ever come across, was "Shave your back." And the other one was he turned around and went, "No, I'm not," and someone chanted, "You hairy bastard," and then Eric Young just was trying to keep a straight face, but he started running up and down the ring going like that. It was entertaining to watch. So I think the Imperium storyline needs to be kept a close eye on, because I feel like something's going to happen there. But right,
I think I've always thought Damo is a beast as well, and I just think that he needs to really just get let loose and just wreck shit up as well.
I think something will happen when Walter turns up. When Walter turns up, it will be like we sort this out, and we're sorting this out now. So I can see that happening. Right, SmackDown. We need to get onto SmackDown now. We've got a lot to discuss. Alistair Black starting to get more and more vignettes and a promo in SmackDown. Go for it.
I just want to say that the work he's doing right now with his promos, I don't know if you saw my tweet, I said it as well, that the story he's telling, the way they're presenting him right now with his promos is exactly how they should have done it from the first round, because it's actually showing more. I don't know if people are going to hate me when I say this, but I think that the whole Mystique thing was gone for, even when he was on NXT, if that makes sense.
Mystique when he lost.
No, that doesn't make sense either.
No, I know what you mean.
I think people expect him to be that mysterious, guy, who just comes in, from the dark, etc. And I feel like he had it for a bit, but at the same time, he just, you can only believe it for so many times, and especially when the guy's announcing you from Amsterdam, that's not really mysterious now, is it? What I'm trying to get at is that I feel like the thing which Alistair always seemed to lack, which I'm sure you even agreed as well, is that he never really got to tell us a backstory to him. And the stuff he's doing on his promos right now, he's actually giving you a bit more to it, so you can actually understand him a bit more. And it'd be interesting to see, from his promos, where he's going to go. And I remember one person tweeting this, and even I got like, oh, that would actually be interesting. And when he's talking about his father, that abandoned him, etc., ignored him. What if his father was the Undertaker? And I'm just like, that would actually make sense as well, because if you remember when the Undertaker, helped him against AJ Styles last year, it kind of connects the dots a little bit.
It'd be interesting to see where they go with that. Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. What a tag team these two are, by the way.
I've never doubted them to be a great tag team to begin with. I mean, I remember people were like, it's all they have nothing for Bobby, and it's just Dolph, being Dolph as usual, and them holding him back, which I failed to see. I think that them two are definitely like, I don't know if this makes sense or anything, but they're kind of like the grizzled young veterans mixed with a bit of beer money. You don't know what I mean, do you?
I can type to see what you mean. I remember beer money, but I don't remember.
I mean, kind of, if you think about it, beer money was kind of grizzled young veterans as well, in a way, because they were basically young veterans of their time that were just, coming in and just owning the tag team division in TNA.
Character-wise, no.
Obviously not character-wise when the name is Beer Money.
No.
One goes a cowboy.
I still don't. I can see a bit where you're coming from, but this Bobby Roode is, if you're going to compare them to Beer Money, then Dolph Ziggler is the Bobby Roode of TNA, and at the moment, Bobby Roode is the Cowboy James Storm of TNA. That's how they're doing it. That was how it was slightly done.
I'm still hoping that James Storm signs at some point because he's always said he wants to. I know he's an Impact right now, but things can happen.
What's his name? Chris Sabin at the moment in the tag team division.
He's still there, is he?
Yeah.
Moving on from that, but yeah, as a tag team, I think that Dolph and Bobby have definitely taken it to the next level as they can. And I can actually see them holding, working well for a bit, and then eventually having a feud as well. And the funny thing is, I don't know how many people remember, but the first, not the first feud, but Dolph, when he was doing that gimmick and swaying everyone's gimmick and entrances and everything, Bobby was the guy to call him out. So it's interesting to see how that's come full circle with them.
Yeah, and so that's going well. Montez Ford with one of the best frog splashes I've ever seen. By the way, he's absolutely electrifying at the moment. IC title, Big E versus Apollo Crews happened, and then the big guy coming interfered, did the Umaga thing with Kevin Owens coming out and destroying and doing it.
It's funny. I don't know if you remember when Double KO and KO was supposed to have a feud. Well, not have a feud, but KO and them were having beef after you weren't watching at the time. But basically, Raw Underground happened with Aleister Black and KO having a fight, and it went into the ground, if you will, and they end up clashing into Dubba, and then Dubba just got into the ring and fucked everyone up basically. And then the next I think it was on Raw Talk. It was KO went off on one and basically called out Dubba Kato and called him one of those guys who just come into the business with the usual, etc. And then the week after that, we finally saw them two in the ring, and it's like what I'm trying to say is it's come full circle with them as well. If you think about it.
So it's looking like that at WrestleMania Backlash, as it's now called, there could be a triple threat or a fatal four-way with Sami Zayn as well involved as well. With Kevin Owens, Apollo, and Big E for the IC title. I'm all for it. I look forward to seeing that. I think that all four of them bring something different to the table, and I feel like it could go absolutely ape shit, and I'm all for it.
I was actually hoping that Sami Zayn would join the Apollo Crews' team because he actually looks like he could fit in with a team with his attire and everything. It'd be interesting to see how
he fit into that.
He could.
No,
I reckon he could. Mate, I've seen it. I think he...
Look, there is no way Sami Zayn can fit into that. He's whiter than white.
I don't mean by that. I mean as in the way he could be like the talker for them, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but they got a bolo who somehow has done a reverse Kofi Kingston.
Why'd you have to say it that way?
Because it is. That's how it is now. That's how it's done.
It should be really Uha, let's be honest, because that's his real name anyway, and that's really fits it right now. But
you can't call him that.
What? That's his real name, Uha Nation. Well,
Uha. Listen, there's so many jokes that you could do with that. There's no way you can do that. Just a little bit. A little bit more. No way. Yeah, exactly. There's no way you can use that because
his real name is Sesu Uha. So they could work. What I'm trying to say is it's only because he's going to his Nigerian
Game of Thrones now.
What Sessa?
Oh, it was Cersei. I was like, hold on.
No, not Cersei.
Shame.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Game of Thrones, I got my mate into it who was for years was not interested. I finally got him into watching it, and he literally regrets not watching it.
Greatest thing ever.
Yeah, right. It's only when you get to season 8 you feel it.
Let's please move on from that because last thing before we get into it, the main thing. Before we get into anything, I want to talk about what Pat McAfee, and I'm going to say this now. I'm going to trigger so many people with saying this, by the way. This could get interesting for us. Pat McAfee is a better commentator than Samoa Joe. better talker
Really?
on the microphone than Samoa Joe. I believe more what comes out of Pat McAfee's mouth than I do Samoa Joe's.
I
Reason.
think
I,
I'm
li-
kind
I
of like,
look, the reason why I say that, and the only reason why I say that, is if Samoa Joe, oh, he's a badass, he's going to do it, I go, yeah, but Joe, you can fucking annihilate him. If Pat McAfee goes, it's scary, look at this human being, oh my God, I'm scared, this is terrifying, I go, yeah, I agree with you on this one. Because he's like this, he's like the normal person. Well, he's not normal, but he's like the normal. He's like the normal
I
man.
think
What he says is what you agree with.
I like what I'll say about Pat. What I like about him is the way. I probably guess kind of what you're saying as well. But what I like about Pat is the way he hypes them up. You know, he really. I don't know if you probably noticed as well, but it's like when he gets super into it, he's standing on his feet and he's
That's
going.
what I was going to say. I don't know whether you've noticed this, but when Pat stands up and does the talking and does stuff, Michael Cole does it, and you can tell the difference with Michael Cole in the way that he commentates. He's more. I don't know what you think, but my opinion is Pat's made Michael Cole more relaxed, and there's a more relaxed atmosphere on that commentary table where Michael will do the point of what he normally does, gives you a little bit more detail, but Pat will give you that real life feel, that real life sense that I don't think Michael Cole, and I don't think Corey Gray struggles with this as well sometimes as well, where he gives you that real life feel, where you feel like this person's life is in danger. This person's career is on the line. The way the match ended, right? I'm going way over the match and how good it was. The way the match ended when Pat just went off about Roman Reigns. He went, Roman Reigns is the greatest thing ever. Daniel Bryan should have known better to come in the ring with him, blah, blah, blah. And doing that for me was more legitimate selling of that match than some of the stuff that I've seen before. My opinion.
I was going to say, it's funny you mentioned Graves. What made me laugh on Raw was when he was talking down Mandy, because it's just like we heard him for years praising Mandy so much. He's basically like, she was just slave of the month now, et cetera, et cetera. But while we're talking about commentators, I just want to mention, I don't know if you've heard of him a lot, because I don't know if you've been watching Raw that much. Adnan Virk.
Mm-hmm. I have. I listened to him after Raw after Mania.
I'm going to be fair on him. I think people are being a bit too harsh on him, because I think he's still. It's one of those things which is where he's trying to adjust to the place where he's working at. I think he's still getting there, but it's still a long way to go yet. And I think people just need to give him a bit more time. I know that people made a big deal about when he made that Jaws reference, which is where he goes, we're gonna need a bigger boat when Braun Strowman was about to do his freight train thing. I know people made a big deal about that. I'm just like, okay, it wasn't funny, but at least he's trying to be funny. At least he's trying to, adjust to it. At least he's trying to, come into his own. It's not easy, People seem to think that, commentary is an easy job. It's not easy. It's sure as hell ain't easy, especially when you've got Vince McMahon in your ear, yelling shit at you. So, and people like to bring up the whole Mike Adamle thing. Mike Adamle, it was funny. I didn't really notice him that bad as a kid until I watched it again later on. Then I realized, he really was a bit bad.
He was pretty shocking. So what did you make of Roman Reigns and banishing Daniel Bryan now out of SmackDown?
Right, so we're gonna go this way. I think this has made him the ultimate heel now. And the reason why I say it is because Daniel Bryan for years was basically SmackDown's main guy. The whole yes thing from the day he came back and came back as from the day he was on SmackDown as the GM and everyone loved him as that, and from the day he made his announcement on SmackDown that he's going to be able to compete again, and for the past God knows how many 3-4 years, I can't remember now. It's been like 3 years since that announcement. Now, he's pretty much been carrying the SmackDown brand. Him and AJ were the two guys that were SmackDown's main guys. So I think that this moment, you said it yourself, Daniel Bryan at this point is the biggest babyface going. I think Roman has literally just taken out the basically the soul of SmackDown. He's kicked him out. He's not there anymore. He's vanished. He's gone. And how they're going to play it, they can go either way. It could either be a case of Bryan's going to be off SmackDown for a while, and he signs a new contract and probably won't see him till Rumble next year, or he goes to Raw because he's that bored, or he goes to AEW. No, I'm joking. He goes to NXT.
Well, I saw interviews and looking about it, and excellent match, by the way. Great storytelling from start to finish.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Roman is just another league at this precise moment.
Mate, there's a lot I can say about Roman right now.
Yeah. And someone said on it, well, someone asked him the question about his contract, because everyone knew that last year or the last time his contract was up in September. And he said about your contract being up this September. And he said, I don't know why people going. He understands why people go in September, but that's not the case. He says after WrestleMania, when he went home, he wanted to play with his daughter and with his child and do stuff like that. And he couldn't because of the pain on his neck that he had from the match itself. And he said he struggled to do that. He knows that he hasn't got long left in wrestling. He knows that he hasn't got that much time left, and he knows that he wants to stop before a point where he gets paralyzed.
I think people forget.
What I got from that, or what I got from it, was he's going to use that to do what he wants to do next. He's not going to go by... He has the right now, in my opinion, for what he's done for WWE and what he's done for majority of WWE to turn up to Vince's office and go, look, I'll sign a new deal, but I choose the brand. And Vince goes, all right, where do you want to go? I want him, personally, my opinion, I want him on NXT. I want to see the matches that he could have with Tommaso Ciampa, with Walter, with Johnny Gargano, with Cross, with all of these wrestlers.
I want to put with Cross at this point.
No. I'm not saying at this point. I'm saying these are the wrestlers who I want him to face.
No, the reason why I'm saying is because Cross's moves are a bit. Well, if we're talking about
no, that's fine. All I'm saying is let him choose now where he wants to go.
I get where you're coming from. Yeah.
But yeah, so for me, NXT, I would love to see him in NXT. I would love to see him go against these people that I would say would be... Pete Dunne would be one I would love to see him against. So, look, I don't know what's happening. No one knows what's going to happen next.
I think...
It's more likely that he's going to turn up on Raw and try and save that brand than it is anything else.
I don't think... what I'm trying to say is I don't think people realize... Because I don't think people realize that Brian's been doing this for a lot longer than people can count, because he didn't... he's been doing this... he wasn't... before he was in WWE, he was wrestling on Ring of Honor. He was wrestling in Japan.
He was wrestling around about 10, 12 years before he even stepped into the ring in WWE.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'm trying to get at is that he's basically... while he's got so many years of experience, he's got the amount of injuries and concussions he's sustained. There's only so much that you can hold back on, that you can only keep convincing yourself that you're all there. And people forget on the he wrestled quite rough when he was in some places, and that doesn't get mentioned a lot. Surprisingly, I'm sure people forget. Same thing with KO and Sami Zayn as well. They've had some rough matches in Ring of Honor. So
I'm excited to see where it goes.
What I'm trying to say is that the future can only be... they can only have so many years left in them. That's what I'm trying to get at for a lot of them. What I want us to bring up, we have to bring it up, because if we don't, we are fools. That is Roman Reigns finally debuted his new theme song. Whew, man. I don't know how you feel about it, but for me, when I first heard it, I was just like, I'm so glad I didn't come on Twitter at the time, because I'm usually prone to spoiling myself, finding out things by mistake. And as soon as I heard the choir, whatever you want to call it, thing, I was like, wait, what? That's happening now, kind of thing. And a part of me was wondering, what I wish they'd done this at Mania, but apparently I found out. I don't know how accurate it is, but apparently one person said that he didn't want to have it at Mania because he wanted to hear the crowd react to that just one last time. So I think that's a smart move to do so as well. And I feel like it kind of made sense in this one, because it basically sounded like, this is the end for Brian. So I think that's the way to go with it. What I will say is that I just think that there's still some tweaking needed for it. Maybe just other than adding some lyrics to it, I think they could just I can see them doing something with the lights, part of his entrance. Like it could be all dark, and then he comes out of nowhere and does his thing. What do you think?
I think the music's okay. I think it's one
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
best ones that they've created since
Oh yeah, yeah,
Johnson left. I think that was one of the things that I worked
yeah.
out.
I think
I've
it's
seen a lot of people say it's like the
final boss.
end boss
Yeah, final boss. Yeah,
of a game, and I get that, but
I think it's
no,
probably because you're used to the
I
intro
think
song.
the one thing that I will say did not help the situation was the production.
Production.
It was like Roman Reigns' old theme, but with new music piped over the top of it. It was
I like the fact.
everything felt the same. And for me, if you're going for a new theme, you have to change the production of it. You can't be
I
coming out
agree.
doing the same type of thing as you did with the last fucking music.
I agree where you're coming from, but I think it's I'm okay with them keeping a bit of that beat in it because it kind of plays roots to it. But at the same time, because it's still over a new song as well, so it still adds to that element for it. And like
I
I said, they
think
can
the
still.
production of that song, of the new theme, ruined the song for me.
But I still think
I
they
thought
can.
it was good, but I was like,
But like I said, I think they can still tweak it up a bit more, just to get just to keep
mm,
it keep it fresh. That said, I have to also can't not say this, but when Pat McAfee was doing his commentary when he was making his entrance, the way he was calling out Roman's attributes and everything, the way how he was born into this family, how he was born, I was just like, oh, that's the kind of commentary we need when the guy's coming to the ring. That's how you introduce a heel.
yeah, I agree, completely agree.
I think he's the perfect guy to be his hype man from now on as well. But I do wish that would have been Samoa Joe, just because Joe, because of the Samoan thing and Joe and Samoan, yeah.
But he's
Joe.
not there anymore, so
Yeah.
right, let's get into other news. We're going to go through a couple of them. There's going to be a couple of things we're going to miss out. We got.
Let me also quickly mention. I saw the Miz 24
I haven't seen
24.
that yet. I need to watch that.
I need to say, man, there's some things I definitely need to say about that. So, as you know, I was never a big Miz fan when he first came in. I hated him. I don't know what it was. I just could never get behind him. I knew there was obviously characters and all that saying, but there was just something about him I just could never like. And for a long time, I just could never get behind him. For a very long time, even when he won the WWE Championship, I didn't like it. So yeah. But what I want to get to is that when I watched his documentary, there was so many things about it which slowly started. Which the younger me was like seeing it as well. But the one thing that really caught me, which I have to mention, I'm not trying to give too much away for it, but he mentioned when he was kicked out of the locker room by someone. I know who it is. I'm going to say it because you might as well. No, Chris Benoit. He kicked him out of the locker room because he made a mess with some chicken from KFC or something. So he made a mess with that, and he kicked him out from the locker room for months. And then Benoit died, and he still didn't come in the locker room because no one told him to come in until the Undertaker let him in, which showed how much he respected the business. So that's one thing. But the thing which I have to say, which I had no idea about, I legitimately had no idea, was when he had his match with Cena at Romania, and he took a fall to the concrete.
Yeah, because he got concussion.
I had no idea that even happened.
Oh yeah. That was, you could see that straight away. I watched that and went, he's out. He ain't moving for a while.
I did not even know that even happened. That's how much I caught me off guard.
If you look at it as well, one of the things
it was literally like that, and I was like, whoa.
If you listen as well, The Rock talks about that, and he said that when he walked out there, he got told by Vince to go a little bit longer than he was told, just to make sure the Miz could actually move. If the Miz wasn't going to move, then what was going to happen is, according to The Rock, was he was going to then just take out John Cena and then give the title to Miz and then walk away. But the Miz started moving, and then The Rock went, right, I knew then that I just need to do my bit and then go from there. And that was one of I knew that he was out cold.
I haven't seen the match. So I didn't know anything about that, so I was actually very caught off guard by that. And I have to say that, and a lot of respect for me, the fact that he was able to carry on with that, despite the concussion. But what I'm trying to say is taking a fall like that, man, especially your head hitting concrete like that, I can't even imagine what that pain must have been like.
That would have been horrible.
I really cannot. And the respect he got from The Rock and Cena and everyone after that, man, that just shows you the kind of person that Mike Mizanin really is.
Mm.
And what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that watching that show really just showed how much of how respectful Mike is of the business and of the sport. And I feel like Mike doesn't get enough credit where credit's due.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when he won the WWE title again, everyone was pissed again, and they basically said it best was that they're happy for you when you're doing it, but when you actually achieving the top thing, they're not happy for you. All of a sudden, 1 second.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. And that one of the things I felt about The Miz throughout the years was people tried to quickly ruin him more than what should have happened. Like the recent WWE title reign, my personal opinion is he should have had that a heck of a lot longer than what he did. He should not have been a champion that passed it on to Bobby Lashley. He should have been the one to hold on to that title at Mania against Lashley and against Drew. Look, we wouldn't have had that Bad Bunny match between John Morrison or The Miz. I get that and understand that. But at the same time, Miz is so much better than that. And it's the same with the Bailey as well, not having a proper match for a title or anything at WrestleMania as well. But, hey, right. I'm going to pause it and wait for him to get back. And We're back. He's back off it. So we've done The Miz, and now we're going to quickly do one story. There was 4 that we were going to take, but we've done a lot on this podcast today, so we're just going to sort of do one. We might do 2. Chelsea Green.
Oh, you have to bring that one up. Go on there. Right. Say what you want to say.
Right. As someone who does content and someone who does not at the high level as what this person does, as does graphics and all this and all of that, I do thumbnails and do predictions and stuff like this and that. And someone wants to use something that you use, then I've seen it before with certain Redding type places where someone has created something really, really well and they don't give them any credit. And one of the things that we find that is very hard for us is we take our time to create certain things like thumbnails. Take me a long time to try and work out. It may not look the greatest, but it takes me a long time to try and work out what I want to put on there and what can grab your guys' attention. It's the same as it comes with no thumbnails, with predictions. I want to try and create something that stands out that everyone can see and come along and join us on the journey of what we're trying to predict and what we're trying to do. What I don't think she understands, and what I found very poignant about it, was she got caught out for something that she messed up. And we've all made mistakes. And we've all done certain things that will come back and bite us in the ass at certain points. And I get that. And we've all done certain things that have done it. But when you delete it and not give that person credit, and yeah, it was a while ago and all of that, but then you still don't do anything. Even in the apology tweet that she did, and she tweeted it out and did it, she still didn't apologize to the person. She just said, okay, here it is. I will try not to do it again. Like, look, my humble opinion is she's on thin ice as it is anyway at the moment. She just got released with WWE. She'll probably end up back at Impact with Zack Ryder anyway, doing the crazy shit that she was doing before. She hasn't had a character or anything good in wrestling to make her stand out from the rest.
I mean, she had the Hot Mess character.
Yeah, that wasn't any good. That was just fucking weird.
I mean, it made her popular, so I can't say that.
Yeah, popular with weirdos. But look, in my opinion, she hasn't done anything in wrestling for me to change our mind or anything on her. So
I'm not going to big her up.
She's trying to get to a new company. She's trying to do a new thing. She's trying to move on, and she's trying to get back to where she was after the 90-day clause is done. This is not going to help her. This is definitely hindered her more than it is. But the issue is here, and the one thing that we're all going to discover, and the one thing that I find very interesting, is she made a mistake. She sort of made an apology, sort of did the same thing again, and now we're going to brush it over. All because Zack Ryder will go, yeah, she's great, she's done this and done that, and everyone licks his arsehole. When technically he still can't wrestle, and she's not going to come. She's not going to. If someone proves me wrong, prove me wrong. But I can't see her lighting anything up when she comes back to wrestling. She will not be. She is someone that I can't see. Did you see the idea she pitched? Being a sexy nun. And not only that,
right.
being a sexy nun, and then the other one was being Dominic Mysterio's girlfriend at one point as well. And it's like, well, I'm not being funny. He'd be lucky if you look with her. She can't fucking wrestle. So,
but my point is, the funny thing is that she'd probably be anything that'd be interesting to watch when he's in the ring. My point is that
Dominic Mysterio is fucking good. So don't disrespect Dominic Mysterio.
I'm not disrespecting him as a performer. I just find him boring.
No, you're boring. Your face is boring. Your face is boring.
Now, what I'm trying to get at...
Don't apologise to Dominic Mysterio.
No. What I'm trying to get at is that... what am I trying to get at? I think she was pitching ideas. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know. It's kind of weird when I heard it as well. Because I'm not going to lie, when I was kind of a bit like... I didn't really expect that as well. Because I thought I'd have thought that... I know that she's a crazy character kind of thing, you know, that. And maybe she thought... Actually, I thought that she could have been like the anti, not the anti-Dio, but like the anti-political kind of person. But at the same time, we've already got Carmella doing that with her thing. So I feel like she was trying to be more around that kind of thing. But either way, I don't know. It's kind of like, it's one of those things where I think that things got taken out of context as well, which we'll never know the full story behind.
Can I say one thing? I don't think she would have got into WWE if it wasn't for Zack Ryder.
It's possible, but then again,
I also will say this as well, that she lasted a heck of a lot longer than I thought she would.
Well, my opinion is I think like they recognized that she'd been there before a few times. She was on Tough Enough, and she had a few tryouts before that. So I don't think she was ready. It's not like a case of her being a stranger to it. It's only when she came in, she had a bit more of a name to her when she came in. But yeah, that said, it'll be interesting to see where things go from there. But it'll most likely be her going to Impact at this point. She could easily go to AEW because she's got friends there anyway. So it could really go either way at this point.
One last thing before we go.
You gonna say what you say?
What?
Oh man, didn't you see the notes?
Yeah, I've seen the notes. We're not discussing one of them.
Oh, come on.
Andrade is back.
Oh, come on. You're going to miss that one now?
Yes, I'm missing that one.
I'm going to say it then because it's not fair. Drake Wirtz, what are you on, mate? Bloody hell. I'm sorry, but when I saw him say that, I'm not usually one to get into these things, but when I heard him say what he said, I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I tagged Jim Cornette to it, and I was like, Jim, just end him, please, after saying that, because that was beyond ridiculous. I don't care what political party you follow. I don't care if you're anti-mask, anti-COVID, whatever. Saying crap like that and then crying about it, yeah, I'm not going to support that. Sorry. I'm sure he's a nice guy in real life, but no. That's just me saying my part.
Andrade is back. He had his first match back against Alberto Del Rio. Right, so I'm not being funny, but you
don't want to talk about Drake Wirtz, but you want to talk about that instead, okay?
Yeah, right. So Andrade could go anywhere he wanted. Could do anything he wants. First match he comes back, Alberto Del Rio. So what the fuck? Anyway.
Well, that's on him. If he's picking the matches, that's on him.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's what I'm trying to say. You're not saying anything about that, are you?
I've got to see where it goes because I don't know where that went with that. I think he was trying to find someone that he could have a good match. Anyway.
I have to say this. That if Del Rio is so confident he's not going to go to prison, then there must be. If Del Rio is confident enough to have these matches right now, then that means that he's probably going to go to prison then, because it doesn't make sense that he'd be doing all this, Yeah,
I don't know.
It doesn't make sense.
In a promo on AAA, which looks like he's doing it. He has called out a certain individual to have a match with who. Not gonna lie. I will fucking pay to watch, is Kenny Omega for He wants to have a match with him in AAA on there as well, which would be a very good match. But there's one thing I want to talk about Kenny Omega. He just recently become the Impact World Title champion. Sorry, after beating Rich Swann. I was very skeptical of the partnership between AEW and Impact.
You know, what's funny is whenever they don't go to the big leagues, and when they don't sign with WWE, they always seem to give them all the gold elsewhere to make them look like they're a bigger star. They did that with Kurt Angle, I remember years ago. No, Kurt Angle wasn't a big star anyway, but you know.
So my opinion on Impact and AEW is Impact are becoming jobbers. I like Impact. I think they have excellent talent. I think they've got some of the best future stars in wrestling, in my opinion, at the moment. Before the whole AEW thing, they were growing. They had some excellent wrestlers on there, some great matches they could set up, all this and all that. What they're doing right now is basically being AEW's bitch. And I don't care. Hold on. Let me go on my rant here. I'm going to go on a rant here now. I don't care about how many buys you get for your pay-per-view, right? Yeah, that will generate money for you. Congratulations, you gained a bit of money. What it's not going to help you is long-term. This is not helping you long-term whatsoever.
Yeah.
You're basically not creating your own stars. You're not creating anyone that is going to be able to do anything to win a title. The only title of relevance right now in Impact is the X Division, and the women's tag titles are the only ones that are going. So what they're doing is stubbing themselves in the face, and that's the one thing they're letting themselves down. They could easily build a brand, and I saw a quote from Chris Jericho, which I think if Impact heard what Chris Jericho said, they would have been fucking angry and pissed off. He just basically said, "We're doing a better thing than what Impact can do. We're basically helping them become a brand." He goes, they couldn't even invade AEW. And this is not a shoot. You could tell this is legitimate as well. They couldn't invade AEW because they haven't got the stars to do it. And he's right. Because Impact are shooting themselves in the foot with this partnership with AEW. And I saw something else as well, where WWE are looking at making more partnerships with indie talents to get some of their talent out and about and to wrestle. And it's looking like they're close to agreeing to do with MLW, which is a good... That'd
be a good one as well, because I remember one person said we could get Jacob Fatu versus Roman Reigns, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be a hell of a match. But that said, what was I going to say was that I remember Booker T. Booker T said it in an interview just recently that that Kenny being rich wasn't a good idea, basically.
No.
And people were saying, "Oh, Booker's just being whatever." And I'm just like, well, he's kind of right in a way, because you kind of just destroyed your own talent, and you're just feeding it to the guy who's already got all the gold.
Look, we understand that Kenny Omega's got one of the most protective finishers in wrestling at the moment with the One-Winged Angel, whatever it's fucking called. Whatever it's fucking called. I get that, and I get that's the most protective finisher. And I get as well, and I'm not saying this, I don't understand how Rich Swann is a world champion, in my opinion. He's nowhere near that level. He's more of a mid-card.
Well, this is TNA, don't forget.
Yeah, but even TNA's level, he is a mid-card, lower-card talent.
I mean, if it was me, I'd be making Moose champion.
He is. Moose
NXT
lost to Swan.
NXT TNA champion.
Moose had the old TNA World Championship. He then lost that to Rich Swann somehow. So then Swan to go on and lose it to Kenny Omega, which Moose should be champion. Moose is more of a legitimate fighter than anyone, and he's the one that could go on.
He's got believability about him. I've seen him. I haven't seen him that many matches, but I've seen some of his work. And what I like about Moose is that he's got that believability about him. That is, if you saw him in a bar, you wouldn't want to pick a fight with him. No. He has that about him, and that's what I think people forget, is that we need that believability in talent.
Yeah, no, I agree. The one thing that's happening right now is there's no believability that Impacts are going to benefit anything out of this. You're going to get more eyes, maybe, but they're more eyes to see AEW, not to see what you guys are doing.
Oh, yeah. I think...
and I get, look, the forbidden door's open. You've got, this week on AEW, you've got John Moxley defending his IWGP United States Championship on there
sometimes.
against a New Japan wrestler who's I can't remember his name, but he's defending that. I understand if the forbidden door is open and it helps both brands. I get that. Look, WWE teaming up with AEW. I love to see that happen. I would think that would be excellent. Seeing Kenny Omega versus Seth Rollins, seeing Roman Reigns versus anyone. You got Cody Rhodes versus a trash bag, because that's both where they both belong.
Yuji Nagata, that's exciting.
Yeah, and you've got Cody Rhodes that just... I don't get Cody Rhodes. I don't think
it's funny.
He's not good.
Cody was actually okay at one point for a bit when he was on the... No, I'm saying when he was on the Indies, when he had the buzz back on him, he was actually having good matches with people. But I feel like since he's coming to AEW,
it's shocking.
He's basically
do you know what? I saw someone...
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's basically just... I don't want to sound like everyone else is, but he's basically kind of like feeding his own ego nowadays more. Like, I know the one thing which really... I'm not going to talk about the part where he took the hammer to the chair kind of thing, because we all know what that meant. Ha, ha, ha. You know what I'm talking about?
Triple H.
Yeah. We all know... I'm not even talking about that one. I'm talking about when when him and Brandy Rhodes have made their own...
They got their own Miz and Miz TV, basically.
I'm just like, oh, God, you're so original, man. Wow. It's no wonder...
Look, Cody Rhodes at the moment is someone I don't care about. I've never really cared about. He hasn't put a character across to me for me to care.
No, I'm going to be fair on Cody. I remember years ago when... I still remember
Stardust is his best character, by the way.
I guess. Stardust. I'm trying to talk about... I remember when... man, it was at the Money in the Bank when they had all the mid-carders in there. We had Ambrose in there, we had Fandango in there, we had Damian Sandow in there, we had Cody Rhodes in there, and I can't remember, there might have been some other guys in there, but my point is that all of them stole the show in that one. I remember that, and I was like, these are the guys that could literally be the next guys carry the business kind of thing. And that's the thing which I'm trying to get, is that it just feels like they've missed the boat on that kind of on those kind of moments. You know what I mean?
He missed the boat on that. I don't blame anyone else apart from him, and that's it. I'm just going to say, don't get the hype. He's not a good champion. He's not someone that you can build superstars around. He's someone that you just look at and go,
I feel...
Why?
I feel like the thing with Cody is that when he got released, and he started doing his thing on the Indies, and he started doing those shoots on Ring of Honor, and just... He was taking shots at his old company because nobody does that, and everyone was just getting on the hype train for him because of that. And all of a sudden, everyone kept mentioning, "Oh yeah, he's Dusty Rhodes' son. You have to really give him the extra love because he's Dusty's kid and everything." Mm-hmm. I feel like that kind of propelled him a little bit more. But I think ever since then, it's just like I'm sure we're gonna get so much hate from AEW for saying this, but I just feel like Cody just doesn't have that. I feel like he's basically kind of like Triple H was in 2002.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's becoming someone that he's told everyone about that he would never become, and that's what he's doing. And that's the one thing I don't get.
And he's basically just made AEW WCW at this point, And the thing is, nobody seems to admit it, but he basically is that now, Basically.
Did you know what the one thing as well that I don't understand with AEW as well? And this is not an AEW bashing. If they do something good, we will talk about it and we will watch it and we will do things.
I've praised AEW before, but the thing is, though, if they're gonna do stupid shit like Sparkle and making Cody champion a champion every time, and all these other stupid moments that seem to be capable, and they're stupid enough to hire an idiot like Jack Swagger. Yeah, how can I like that show?
The one main issue I have with AEW is the amount of factions that they have on it. Everyone is in a faction for somehow. There is so many. Yeah. You've got the inner circle, the outer circle. You've got the bumholes, the cheese puffs, I don't fucking know, the Dark Order, the Light Order. You've got a faction. You got a faction. Anyway, right, we're ending it there. Thank you guys ever so much for coming to join us. I haven't eaten anything today, so I'm fucking starving. So thank you guys ever so much for joining us. We will see you guys next week, where we will review this week's action of. When is WrestleMania Backlash, by the way?
I don't even know. Isn't it 2 weeks or something? Let me check.
Is it next week we do our predictions for WrestleMania Backlash?
No, it's not. Let me see.
WrestleMania.
And it is the 16th of May, which is in... Yeah, it's next Sunday. Oh my
But next
days.
week, we will be doing our predictions for WrestleMania Backlash for some of them. We may do it, we may not do it. All depends on how many matches are announced, and we might do it from there.
Does that mean we're going to lose sleep again?
Probably.
I've been having a great sleep anyway, so we'll see.
Anyway, right, we will see you guys next week. All love, all care, all peace, all thanks, and thank you guys ever so much for joining us. We will see you soon. Bye.
See you later.